Hey, what's up, guys? Joe, Tolkien Fanatic, Cardali here. I am here as promised with Peter Insta Crowland. I did my best. I tried really hard. Peter Insta Crowland, in-game leader and elder statesman of Team Singularity, recent victors, surprise victors of Copenhagen Games. So, how are you doing today, Peter?
I'm doing great, man. Enjoying my weekend. So yeah, that's lovely.
Same. You're about 6 hours deeper into your weekend than I am due to time difference. But
Yep.
so lucky you. Well, I guess it's closer to being over for you, so that's a little bit sad. But yeah, we're gonna get right off into it here, talking about your early years in CS, how you got started with CS, kind of like which game you started with. So yeah, how'd you get introduced to CS, the beautiful game?
Um, yeah, I got introduced by some of my schoolmates. They start playing it when I was like 10 or 11 years old. They told me about the game, so I start playing it. Like I think it was 1.5, the
Okay.
old CS. So I started playing that, and yeah, it turned out that I was pretty good at it. So yeah, as the years went, I started playing Source, Counter-Strike Source. And actually here in Counter-Strike Source, I had like my first team. I played for a team. They had a team speak, they had a server, and yeah, I was enjoying it. And I think when I was like around 15 years old, I went to a tournament. Yeah, and I loved it. My first event, and I just thought that this is lovely. This is what I want to do. And I think like a year later, I went to the same tournament and I actually won it with players like Warns and stuff like that. If anyone knows Warns, he was one of the best players in CSRs. I actually think. So yeah, that kind of kickstarted it all for me, and I just wanted to become better. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started for me.
Did you ever because you don't have any like notable 1.6 achievements. Did you ever go to lands with 1.6, or did you really start getting serious with Source? Like with
Uh, yeah, I never went to any events in 1.6.
Okay,
I basically just played like fun maps and stuff like that with my school buddies, and that was it. Yeah, in 1.6. So Source was kind of the stepping stone for me.
okay, cool. So yeah, and wants kind of like legendary, not even just legendary Danish Source player, pretty much legendary Source player in general. If anyone has seen the esports Mount Rushmore with Vendetta, he's I think Wants is like number two or like three on there of his like all time Source players. Wants even like recently has kind of tried to make some comebacks in Go with like the Imperial and like Fetish, kind of like some of his old running buddies. And he was even a backup on the Astralis roster for like some period of time, although they never really planned on using him. He was kind of like an emergency. But yeah, okay. So another kind of like source player. I mean, it's very interesting how the delineation between like the 1.6 players and the source players in Go, and like kind of we saw the 1.6 players really dominate the early part of Go, like NIP basically. But then I guess in more contemporary history, it's been a lot of like the former source players, right, have really come into their own and had like some more success. So maybe some of that's rubbing it off on you guys. But so then after source is kind of like really when you got into your like after source, the early part of Go is really when you got into the groove and like you were playing with domestically with Eyes on You was like I guess your first really big team that you had a lot of results with. And you guys did pretty decently domestically, but kind of not so great internationally, which is kind of like a trend that has followed you throughout your career, like doing like finishing top two at like all these gaming DK events, which is like the regional Danish league, but then kind of like not doing very well in open qualifiers or any leagues that's happening. So we're gonna see that trend kind of happen. So you're playing with Eyes on You for like the end of 2012, a portion most of 2013, and then you get like the big breakthrough, I guess, the call up to Western Wolves, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
mean that was kind of the breakthrough for me when Glaive and those guys asked me to play with them. I mean, yeah, that was kind of my breakthrough, and it was amazing to try. I mean, I just played with them for like 3 weeks or something like that before the
right,
team disbanded, but
right.
yeah. it was great to try that.
So now you were replacing Nille, right, in Western Wolves, and was this like as a result of his VAC ban, or was this like before all that came to light? Was this just kind of like normal Danish drama happening that he got kicked and you got brought in, or do you remember the exact circumstances?
I think it was kind of both. Like he
Okay.
couldn't play. Yeah, he couldn't play like the big tournaments because of his VAC ban, and yeah, I think something about his performance as well. But I can't remember that. But yeah, I think it was a mix of both things. So yeah.
hmm yeah, and you kind of mentioned what I wanted to segue into next was that you joined the team in like late July, and the team disbanded by the end of August. So you said that that was a huge breakthrough for you, but was it almost bittersweet because you kind of like got the taste of the good life, the big time, and then it was all kind of taken away from you? Was that kind of hard to deal with?
Yeah, it was really hard because like it was my chance and it didn't last. So like afterwards, I was just going back to ISNU again, and it was like I wanted to play on a higher level than just playing with ISNU. I mean, we were good like in Denmark, but internationally we didn't win that much.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play with like better players and on a higher level. So that was really it was sad for me that I couldn't keep playing with Glaive and those guys.
Right. Yeah, and I mean the one like big offline event that you did attend with the team, you guys finished 3-4, losing to like that early Fnatic squad, right? So, I mean the results. I mean, who knows what would have happened if we continued? But yeah, as you kind of mentioned, the team kind of disbanded. You started a new version of Eyes on You. You know, your second stint with Eyes on You, who you kind of continued with throughout the rest of 2013 before capping off 2013 with a win for Denmark in the European Championship. So that must have been fun mixing up with those guys. Um, and then 2014 was kind of like you fell off the radar. Was that like, did you kind of step away from the game, decide to focus on school, other things, or kind of what happened?
Like in the start of the year, I played with ESC,
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, Colon, such guys,
Yep.
and I
Tensky in
didn't.
there as well, I think.
Tensky as well. I didn't perform well, and I didn't, drive in the team. It was, the chemistry wasn't there, and I just felt off at all. Like, we attended Copenhagen Games, and I played horribly. So after that, I said to myself, I need to take like some time off, focus on my school, focus on my social life, and I did that, and I didn't really play much for the rest of 2014.
Yeah, you played. So you played Copenhagen Games with ESC. You played a Faceit qualifier with 3D Max, which I think was Pimp's team at the time. And then I guess you mixed it up at Net Party Fun with Refuse, right? So that was the extent of your achievements in 2014. Um, so kind of like it seems like everyone has one of these like dead years where something they're just like, this is bullshit. Like, and this is like really before the game blew up, so you can kind of be forgiven for being like, yeah, nothing's really happening. I might as well, like, girls are nice. I guess I'll talk to them. Dumb.
Yeah.
Um, but but before we move on to like the next and what I would say is the most like interesting part of your career, you are kind of an interesting person in the Danish scene in that you kind of bridge these two eras of Danish CS, right? You kind of came in at the tail end of Source, so you're playing with all these like Source legends or like Source players that have been around forever, so you're mixing it up with them. And then some of them, continue on over to Go, and they're relevant for the early part of Go, but then kind of like disappear. So these are guys like Herden, Gravity, Jokern, Eisenbu, you mentioned Wants before. Um, I mean, is there any reason that you can think of for why these guys kind of like disappeared? Like, is it kind of a situation like what you just described, like loss of motivation, game wasn't really going anywhere, they had a dip in form that they could never recover from? I mean, what do you think about that?
I think that many players, both CS Source and 1.6 players, dropped out because they didn't like the game, like they didn't like Go. I mean, a lot of Source players, at least, and also 1.6 players, you're just like, CS:GO is a shitty game, and they didn't want to play it, so they just like yeah, let's try this, and then it didn't work out because they didn't have the motivation to play because they didn't like the game
Right.
when it all went down. So I
Are you
think that's a big factor for many people.
are you still in contact with any of those guys? Like, do you still chat with any of those guys, or not really? They're on a completely different stage of life now.
I talked to like Curtin. He was at Copenhagen Games. He's actually, yeah, he's the head admin for CS:GO at Copenhagen Games. So I talked a lot to him.
Oh, okay.
And Gravity also started playing again. He told me that he wanted to focus 100% on the game and try to get become a full-time player, because he was a good player in Source and playing for Imperial, one of the best teams
Yep.
in Source. So I talked to a lot of these guys, and they actually want to, come back and play the game. But yeah, they have been off for so many years now that it's hard for them to get back into it.
Yeah. Yeah, now that you mention it, I think I did see Gravity in like a Dust2.dk article with some team that he formed. Like he might have been with like 3K2 even, and like some of those like really old school guys. I don't really remember though. So, like I said, the most interesting part of your career, which kind of comes out of nowhere, is 2015 comes along. You've been out of the scene for a year, and you pop up in Germany, playing for MyKPV. So, kind of how did that come about? Like, do you remember, you know, you and another Danish guy playing with three German guys, basically all of 2015. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it was through ISNU, because ISNU is a German organization.
Right.
So I actually talked to a lot of German people while playing in ISNU.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got contacted by Skrunk, I think it was,
Yep.
like in 2015, and he told me, yeah, just come try play with us. You will enjoy it. Yeah, I just thought the Danish scene, yeah, I didn't really fit into the Danish scene at the time, and I didn't have anyone to play with, so I just took the opportunity and went with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's interesting that you say you didn't fit into the Danish scene at the time, right? Was that because like everything was solidified in the Danish scene, or because you look at the Danish scene now and there's so many teams that are vying for like supremacy just in Denmark. You know, like there's no shortage of teams that you could slot into now if you were in the same situation. So, I mean, is that like a recent explosion in the Danish scene that you would attribute that to? That wasn't really the case back 2 years ago.
I just think like 2 years ago, the Danish scene was really unstable,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't really fit into my personality to play on a unstable team. I just wanted stability, like I had in ISNU. I mean, we were a pretty stable team, and we played for a long time. And it didn't really fit into my personality to just swap teams or swap players every week and stuff like that. And I think, and in that way, the scene have changed a lot on 2 years. But it's also depending like on contracts and stuff like that, which we didn't have at the time.
Right. Right. So yeah, that's your adventure in Germany, which ended in like September of 2015. And again, you guys were playing like Meisterschaft, 99 Damage Liga, like that sort of things, but never really having great results. If you look at the Wikipedia page for MyKPV at this time, there's about like 30 former players. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that you say you were looking for stability, because it seems like you didn't really find it in Germany. Kind of a grass is always greener situation. But yeah, so then you kind of like you left MyKPV, you went over to Eyes on You with like four of your boys from MyKPV, and that lasted for like a month. And then you played in like a couple mixes. You had like a mix with like some of the Hungarians and like Joel's and like Zero. It was like Foda and like Bodito, Joel's, Zero, and you, which is like what? You played like some quick shot with them, I guess for the lulz. And then you like came back with this new Reason lineup, right? Like one of many Reason lineups that CS:GO has seen, which all seem to last like 2 or 3 months. And I don't think you started out with these guys, but eventually names like well, actually, there were only like 7 players, but like names like Netric, Tobacco, like KS, Tobacco, who you've kind of like played with on multiple teams at multiple stages in your career. Is there anything that you can say about these guys? Like KS, especially, is a guy who seems to like float in and out of the scene like every couple of months. Like he'll be on a team for like 2 months, do really well, disappear for 6 months, come back in a mix. Like, is there like just are these guys just like weird personalities, or like what's the deal?
Um, I mean, at the time, I took some players that I kind of knew, and I knew that, yeah, we would fit great into a team.
Mm-hmm.
So I just took some players and put them into a team, and we started playing. Yeah, KS for me is like the X factor. He's just, I mean, he played with the C play, I think it was, at NorthCon, like early 2012 or something like that, where we
Mm-hmm.
also participated.
Mm-hmm.
And he did well. Like, I mean, he did really well. And at that point, I thought he would be like, yeah, up and coming, and he would play for some big team in the future. But it seems like that, yeah, he's, yeah, it just it stopped for him at some point. He didn't evolve or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's just like, yeah, playing for tier 2 teams in Denmark, I would say.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of sad, I think, because he was an up and coming player in my opinion at that time. But we took him into recent gaming, and yeah, it felt good playing with him. I mean, he was really talented. So yeah.
Do you think he has some like Twist-esque, Jules-esque thing going on where he just wants to play with friends, or like doesn't take it too seriously, or like I mean, you have no idea really. You just think he hit a plateau, and that's kind of it.
I just think that, like, honestly, before we picked up Rixo and those guys from X Alpha, we actually asked KS and another player to join me and ANJ in Singularity, but he was like really loyal to his team at that point, and he told us that he didn't want to leave his current team and he didn't want to play with us. But I mean, sometimes you have to take some chances, and it might also not be, yeah, it might be grim for the players you're playing with if you are leaving them, but yeah, you have to take into consideration your own career and your own chances. So yeah, that might have been the problem for him in some years. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you're in Reason and you're there for a couple of months. I guess you finish out 2015 with Reason, start 2016 with Reason, and then you make the move over to Tricked, right?
Yep.
So now we're getting into like, I mean, at the time Tricked wasn't like a top tier organization in Denmark, right? But I think during your time there is when they got the Sayer investment, right? So you were kind of there for the beginning of the evolution of Tricked into like this domestic powerhouse, I'll say, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, the evolution of that roster kind of eventually wound up seeing you make your way off of that team. But while you were there, you were playing with guys like Flex, Netric again, ANJ, your current teammate, Tobacco again, Hectaz, Percy. And then, like as the roster began turning over and they started bringing in more talent, we saw Nico, Yugi, Nico and Yugi and Hunden make their way into that team, right? And you and Hunden were like in the team together for a while, and then you kind of got sacrificed in favor of Hunden, I imagine. But I mean, what was that like? Because that was probably like the first like super duper legit team that you were on, right? In terms of like the capital that they had, the backing that they had, like the air of professionalism. I mean, I talk to Morten kind of regularly, and I don't know what your relationship with Morten is, but he always comes off to me as a very professional kind of good guy. So I mean, what would you say about your time in Tricked? And again, in Tricked, we don't have any like great results to speak of. You know, you have a number 2 in Denmark League. You finished like in a DreamHack Masters qualifier. I think you qualified for ECS Development League, but then you were removed from the team before they played or something like that. But yeah, to backtrack, I mean, what can you say about your time in Tricked and playing with like these now like stars of Denmark in Yugi and Nico?
I mean, my time is Tricked was, yeah, it was really good. The organization and the people behind. I actually know Morten. Yeah, the owner of Tricked. I know him way back. I mean, I played with him in CS Source when he was just a player.
Oh, okay.
And I love those guys behind the project as well. I still talk to them sometimes. So yeah, for me it was like the first professional, experience with esports. I would say, like, yeah, the guys behind it. yeah, our salaries, our contracts, stuff like that. I mean, it was all very professional. And I mean, we started out with a poor team, I would say, not that good players, but yeah, we kind of evolved as the organization also evolved. And at last, we actually had a quite decent lineup: me, Hunden, Nico, Yuki, and Perse.
Right.
But I just think that our personalities was they're so different, and we couldn't get it to work because I mean I think all five of us are great players, and yeah, there's we were a great team, but we didn't fit together. So yeah, it didn't work. We didn't get the results that we wanted, and that also resulted in me and Percy getting kicked from the team. And I have no hard feelings for that. Really, I didn't enjoy to play anymore at the time, so I told them it's fine by me. I have no hard feelings. I played bad, I know that, and it's totally fair that you bring in two new players. And yeah, I just hope the best for them. So yeah, it was fun to try that professionalism inside esports, and yeah.
Yeah, and so at the time that you were removed from the team, you were replaced by aTTaX and Maeve, right? So aTTaX still on the team, both of them coming from X Escape at the time, and aTTaX still playing in that roster. Maeve has moved on. He's back in like the local Danish scene again now. But you pretty quickly found your way over to Singularity, right? I mean, you were removed from Tricked, yeah, like at the end of August, early September, and then you found after playing in the mix Olympic Autism, still one of my favorite names. Early September, mid September, you find your way over to Singularity, right?
Yeah.
And so at the time that you come over to Singularity, Singularity is still more or less like the core of Singularity that Singularity was formed with. And if you don't remember the core of Singularity, you can watch the last video that I did, which is focusing specifically on Singularity. Self-plug. All right. So at the time that you come into Singularity, it's like Zeptinel, Gade, Carnees, and I guess I always mess this up.
Cyclone.
So
Yeah.
Cyclone, Cyclone was technically. Oh no, you joined with Cyclone, right? Cyclone left like 2 days before, and then he rejoined the team. So can you give us?
It was like me, Sepson Gady, Carnees, and Tobacco. And the reason why they brought me into the team was that they wasn't satisfied with the caller Cyclone.
Right.
So they actually brought me into the team, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the caller. But Tobacco wanted to call.
Right.
So we played like 2 days or something like that. And then the other guys from the team, Carnees, Sepson told me that we kicked our caller, and now we have no caller. And I was like, I can try to call, but they didn't want that. So they decided. I mean, I didn't have anything to say. I was there for 2 days. I just told them, do whatever you want. I mean, it's your team. I have been here for 2 days.
Right.
They decided to kick Tobacco and bring back Cyclone.
Right. So the caller that 2 days ago they decided they didn't want, they got rid of, and then all of a sudden they're like seeing like, oh no, we need him back. So a little bit of an interesting circumstances surrounding that. But yeah, I mean, you're playing in Singularity and things are going pretty well. You replace Cyclone eventually with ANJ, so that's kind of when he comes into the team. But then we hit December, we hit ESL major playoffs. Well, first we had the whole kind of like aTTaX debacle in whatever qualifier that was. So, I mean, do you remember that whole you must remember that situation because it was like a week-long kerfluffle. But yeah, take us through that.
Yeah, I mean, we were playing some qualifier like with decent teams, and we were gonna play against alternate attacks. And I told the guys, just remember to record demos because you never know in these open qualifiers. Some teams might request demos, and you should always record. And I told them this like 3 or 4 times before we started the match. And then afterwards, I guess that Carnees wanted to check if his demo was running. So he typed stop in console, and then yeah, he stopped his demo and started recording again. But in CS:GO, the demo will first start recording when the next round starts. So there's like half of the pistol round was missing, but it was after he was dead. So yeah, there was missing like 30 seconds or something like that of his demo. And yeah, of course, Alternate requested demos of him because he had a sick game. And yeah, we got disqualified, and Alternate aTTaX did also get disqualified, or they didn't move on because we already beaten them.
Right.
So yeah, no one didn't. I mean, no one got anything from the
whole
loss.
situation.
So, yeah.
Kind of a mess. But then what even the worst thing that happens is in December you're playing ESL major playoffs and Carnees gets an ESL ban handed to him, which he said he has some hearing issue, right? Which he says he has like a timer that he like a external timer that he uses to keep track of the bomb, which is what he claims triggers the ban. Who can really say? But that must have been a huge blow for you guys, right? Because you're playing an ESL major, you're playing for a slot in Premier League, which obviously is a direct stepping stone to Pro League. Tons more exposure for you and the org, which is like the org itself is like a grassroots org, right? You know, like it's a fairly fledgling project that started up, last year. So that would have been huge for the org. So I mean, like, how did everyone take that? I assume poorly.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember the day when we played 2 matches in the playoffs. So like we had 1 match left against some unknown team to get into Premier, and we have already beaten EPG, like the Russian team,
Right.
kind of decent team, and we also beaten Vext, the French guys.
Right.
So like we beaten the 2 best teams in the playoff, and we kind of secured a spot.
Right.
Then I went into the ESL page and I just said, Carnees, what is going on? You have a ban. And he was like,
what?
Yeah, he was like, what, dude? You're kidding me. And I was like, no, I'm not kidding you. Go check yourself. And yeah, I was so tilted about that, because finally something was going good for us. Like maybe this was our chance to get into Premier, like the league that every semi-professional or just tier 2 teams want to get into, so they can try to qualify for Pro League. So yeah, that was so tilting. And after the episode, we talked to him, and he told us about this stopwatch he was using, like externally outside his CS. But I mean, you never know if it's that. Like, did he use anything else? And many other players that know stuff about anti-cheat told us that he couldn't get banned because of that. Yeah, so it was like a really gray zone for us. We didn't know what he did or if he used any kind of cheat or stuff like that. So yeah, of course we had to get rid of him.
Right.
Move him to the team.
Yeah, I am looking at the bracket now. So yeah, you beat Peter at the time. I guess you beat We Got Game, who then that result was overturned, right? And then your path to Premier would have had to go through the illustrious Team Banhammer and Nevermind. So like the Slovakian mix. And then Dream Chasers Emilio's team made the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, the jury's out on Carnees. We don't really know what he did, what he didn't do, if it's legit, if it's not legit, but basically we won't be seeing him until 2018, the end of 2018, if he decides to come back. So that's a sad story in your history to round out 2016, and it kind of led to basically the disintegration of Team Singularity, right? So the original, we'll call them the original Singularity players, all kind of left at the beginning of the year, and you brought in, you and A&J stayed in, and then the ex-Alpha guys came in. So Rixo, Console, and Luki. And at this point, like, I'm assuming at this point the team became your team, right? Like, I mean, obviously you were IGLing already, so you're still the IGL. You're like the most experienced, the most senior player in the team. So I'm assuming that you kind of had a huge hand in bringing these guys in and getting the guys that you wanted in, right?
Yeah, I mean, me and A&J talked about it because after the Carnees episode, the whole team was like falling apart.
Right.
So me, Gady, and AJ actually talked about getting 2 players. But yeah, after a while, Gady told us that he couldn't continue because it was too much for him. He just wanted to start on a fresh.
Right.
Me and AJ decided that we wanted to play together because we are so we fit perfectly together in a team and we are good mates. So we just wanted to get 3 players, and we started talking to Luki and Console. We didn't actually know these guys. I at least haven't played with them before Singularity. So we just decided that let's take a chance with these 3 players. They played they played in Alpha for like a long time, and
About a year, I think.
and it looked good for them. Like they were stable players. They stayed together. They didn't do anything stupid, or how can you say it? Like they just stayed together as a team and they evolved as a team.
Right.
So that's why we choose them.
Okay. Yeah, and finally your quest for stability has been rewarded. You guys have been, since putting that team together on January 1st of this year, you guys have been together, been a unit. Haven't used any stand-ins, I don't even think yet. At least not in big games, right? But and you guys are just kind of playing like the normal circuit, the Danish circuit, Inzta of 2K events. You guys went to Assembly Winter where you had an alright outing, 5th to 8th, I would say. For a team that's been together a month, I would say pretty good outing against some more established, Finnish teams, playing some qualifiers. But then, of course, we get to the big one. We get to Copenhagen Games, right? What was your preparation like going into Copenhagen Games? Be honest with me. Certainly, you guys did not expect to win Copenhagen Games.
No, we didn't expect that at all. We had a boot camp from I think it was Saturday to Wednesday, and then Wednesday we went to Copenhagen Games.
Right.
So we actually played a lot up until Copenhagen Games. But 2 weeks prior to Copenhagen Games, we had four qualifiers in a weekend.
Okay.
Where we lost to really, I was not say bad teams, but in my opinion, it was bad teams, unknown teams. We lost these qualifiers. We didn't even, lost the first match in these qualifiers, and I was like, oh my god, this will be hard at Copenhagen Games. But we just hang in there, and we played a lot before Copenhagen Games.
And even before Copenhagen Games, let me back up a little bit. You had the Danish Championship event, right? So the day before Copenhagen Games kicked off, we had the Danish Championship event, which was like you guys, eFuture, Fragsters, Tricked, Copenhagen Flames, right? And you guys wound up the surprise finals of this event. So kind of like a precursor to the surprise finals of Copenhagen Games, we had Fragsters and Singularity. So Fragsters like a team of complete youngsters, basically, and then your ragtag band of ex-alpha players and former Tricked players. So you guys wound up in the final, and you lost to the Young Guns. Stavin didn't have a monster game against you guys, but he did have just a retarded game against Tricked. He was like plus 40 or something on the entire game. That kid's a monster. So did you you mentioned you guys were feeling a little bit down on yourselves after those qualifier losses. Did this good performance, did this help you guys motivationally, momentum wise, you think, or something just clicked at the boot camp that you had, and this was just the beginning of showing that?
The Danish Championship for us guys was actually we told ourselves, just go out there, win the first match, win second match, and then we'll see. When we came to the finals, we actually expected to win, so it was kind of we were kind of sad, or we were kind of down after losing to Fragsters. They played really well, all of them, but also the conditions of the event, we were playing at 1 o'clock at the night, and we were done at 3 o'clock, something like that. We had to play a best of 3, and we were sitting there for 12, 13 hours playing out straight. So that was kind of bad for us. I just told the guys, just just relax. We will play Copenhagen Games. I mean, we can't look back at this. We're playing a new tournament tomorrow, Copenhagen Games. We can still do it amazing. I mean, we just have to reset and we will have to play our best.
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of disappointing for us that we didn't win the Danish Championship. I mean, we expected to play Tricked in the final,
Right.
and that could go both ways, I would say. But we have always beaten Fraxters like online and stuff like that.
Yep.
So for us, it was a must-win match, but we didn't win. So yeah, but
Yeah,
we
and
we had to reset, and yeah, we played better the next days, I would say.
yeah, and I think that the Danish Championship represented a bit of an overperformance for Fragsters. Not an overperformance in the sense that they don't have skill; they have tons of skill, but just in the sense of where that lineup is. It's a bunch of young guys. It's a fairly young team. Just in the sense of they were doing all the right things and you were doing some of not the right things, so it was maybe an underperformance for you and an overperformance for them, and then things kind of equalized at the main event where you guys advanced further than them. But so we're at the main event, or not the main event, we're at the BYOC now, and you guys got handed a little bit of a gift group, I would say. It was you, a Norwegian mix, and then two Danish mixes, right? So you
Yeah.
guys sailed through your BYOC group with you dropped 5 rounds, so that has to feel good. Although sometimes those are like the worst groups to have because you're just like, yeah, this is easy, and then you go play some of the big boys and you get wrecked. That did not happen for you guys. So you played Rogue Academy first in like the playoff bracket of the BIOC, and that was a pretty handy win for you guys. Again, only dropping 9 rounds in that BO3. Then you played Manatee, so my boy Robin's team. Shout out to him. And you guys were like a hair's away from actually dropping that third map against Manatee, right? You made like a furious comeback in the third map, wound up taking it to overtime, and then you shut them out in overtime actually to qualify for the main event. I mean, is there anything that you can walk us through from that BO3 specifically, or I mean, you just kind of played, just kind of happened?
I mean, like we played against Rogue Academy at the first match, and
Yep.
that was like we played against them a lot online, practiced against them,
Oh, okay.
a lot. So we knew they were a good team, and I told my guys let's just play our game. I mean, this is a good team. We might lose to them, but
Right.
yeah, I mean something just clicked for us, and maybe they had a bad day. Yeah, and going on to Manatee, we actually boot camped at the same place as Manatee. So
Okay.
I think we practiced against them like 4 times or something during the boot camp.
Okay.
So we kind of had a plan like how they would play and stuff like that, and which maps we should play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, on the last map, like I think our CT sides on Cobble is really weak,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes it's amazing, but yeah, most of the time it's really weak. So we were behind like 9-1 on CT side Cobble, and we took a timeout, and yeah, from that I think we got like maybe four
Yeah,
rounds on
yeah.
CT
You
side.
brought it back to 10-5. Yep.
Yeah, 10-5, and then like our T side, it was just take the pistol and everything can happen because our T sides are really amazing. I don't know what is going on our T sides. Maybe we just play better. We play more together on our T sides than compared to our CT sides. But yeah, it was really an intense match for us, and our goal to this event was to get into the main bracket, or the A bracket, if you
Yep.
could say so. So we were just playing our hearts out because this was our goal to get into the main tournament. And when we achieved that, everyone was just happy, and yeah, I'm really glad that we achieved to get into the main tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that was also our goal before the tournament.
Right.
So it's kind of unrealistic that we won the whole thing.
Right. So you finished BO3 against Manatee. This probably ended at like 2 a.m. Early April 15th morning or whatever, and then you come back the next day and you're in a group with Trick. So this is like the Danish group somehow that formulated. So it was Trick, Singularity, eFuture, and Fnatic, right? And you guys had beaten eFuture the day, 2 days before at the Danish Championship, right? So you must have had some confidence against them. You didn't come up against Tricked, even though you expected to in the Danish Championship final, but I'm sure you've played them a bunch and kind of, having been on that team, you kind of know what they're about. Fnatic Academy, people kind of know about them. So you're in a group with a bunch of known quantities, and people probably would have ranked you, 4 out of 4 in this group, right? I mean, that's not like
Yep.
an exaggeration to say, but you beat Fnatic Academy in the upper bracket. Then you lose to Tricked, so the Danish rivalry. So they exit the group first, and then you play a BO3 against eFuture, and just like 2 days prior, you beat them in the BO3, and you qualify for the playoffs of the main tournament. So like at this point, this is happening. You guys are like in the money. Oh, was there money? No, you're
Top
not. You're not in
four.
the money. Yeah, top
Yeah,
four.
only
So
top
you're
four.
you're 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 in the proverbial sense in the money. You're one win away from getting into the money. And then you get placed against iGame, right, in the playoffs. And you take the kind of narrow win over them 2-1, although 2 of the maps were kind of blowouts. Well, the maps that you won were both blowouts, and then the map that they won was a very close
Yeah,
Inferno.
we actually played Inferno, and we were like the second map. We were in front like 15-10 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and we just threw it away. Or we didn't throw it away. They just like they knew what to do against our T side. They just kept their nades,
Right.
and then when we were doing executes, they were just throwing the nades at us. And yeah, we came into overtime and we lost it. So yeah, we could have won that 2-0, but we kind of threw it away on Inferno.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you beat iGame, and now you're for real in the money. So you're playing the semifinals against Big, and obviously Big are big, premier team, tons of names on that team, people with pro league experience. So I mean, what did you tell your guys before this one? Because now this has already, like, the Cinderella run has like legitimately started. So even if it were to end here, like, you guys are like, claps for you. You did more than anyone expected to do. So like, how are you psyching up your guys before this big match?
I mean, we're just talking about that we should play our own game. We shouldn't like we are as good as these players, so we can easily play up against them.
Yep.
And we was just talking about just enjoy this moment because we already played more than we expected. So yeah, just enjoy it and enjoy it while it lasts. Kind of like just have no nerves. Just play fearless, I would say.
Yep.
That's kind of what we talked about, and yeah, we didn't expect to win that match, I think, but like every other match, you have to have the hopes and expectation that you can win. So we just started out hard, and yeah, I think they underestimated us a bit
Mm-hmm.
because what I heard, they talked to some other German players and asked them who we were, and it was like the only player they knew was me because I played in Germany.
Right.
They didn't really know my teammates, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my teammates was playing out of their minds. So yeah,
See, you're lucky that people don't come to me for scouting reports, because then you'd be screwed. So yeah, you take a convincing win over Big, an upset win. Certainly, no one else would say otherwise, I don't think. And then, lo and behold, here you are in the finals of Copenhagen Games on Danish soil against Dream Chasers. So, a Swedish mix of, Godsent players, a benched NIP player, and Emilio, such as he is. So I mean, did you feel like at this point, like, that this was yours for the taking? You're like, these guys aren't even a real team. Like, there's no way we're gonna lose to these guys. Did you feel pretty confident at this point that it was gonna happen, or were you still like, well, it is Pronax, anything can happen?
I mean, we were actually watching the other semifinal, like Tricked against Dream Chasers, because we ended our match pretty fast, or
Right.
we ended it 2-0. So we were watching the other semifinal.
Yep.
I told to the guys, I hope we will face Dream Chasers because I think that we will lose to Tricked because, yeah, they know how to play against us.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw Dream Chasers winning, I told to the guys, this is actually possible. We can I mean, we can win Copenhagen Games. We are a team with structure, and we just have to play structured against them. I mean, they will play YOLO style. I mean, of course, they are free players from Godsend, but still, they have two players that are not like into their setups and into their structure.
Yep.
So yeah, I thought at least that we could win it all when I saw we were meeting Dream Chasers.
Right. So yeah, in the final, the maps were Mirage, Nuke, Train. So Train would have been the map that you got to see them on because that was the third map of their semifinal. You didn't wind up getting there, and I assume Nuke was your pick, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we picked.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you mentioned you guys are a team with structure, and they aren't. So Nuke is like a great map for that to happen because if you're a pub on Nuke, you're gonna get wrecked. And I mean, they did put up a good fight, right? They lost by 3 rounds on Mirage and 4 rounds on Nuke, but eventually it wound up with you guys being the 2017 champions of Copenhagen Games, lifting that trophy and check and everything that comes with it. So that was an exciting. Yeah, I mean, like that must have been awesome, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was so awesome. I was just shaking my head. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that. Is this real? I mean, yeah, it
Yeah,
was unrealistic.
right. So I mean, now looking forward to like the future of Team Singularity, of Insta, of everything. I mean, we're already seeing doors open for you guys that previously were probably closed, right? You have the invite to the Hellcase closed qualifier, which probably would not have come down otherwise. You're definitely going to get some, recognition, some props off the back of this win, right? And I guess part of the future, depends on how well you capitalize on that, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, you guys aren't playing ESL Major or Main this season, right? I haven't seen you guys in there. Or were you?
Now we're actually playing ISEA Open. I think we are in maybe top 8 now. I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I hope, or I think at least we will get into ISEA main next season. And
Mhm.
of course, our goal is to, qualify for ISEA Premier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not unheard of for a open team to be moved up to Premier. So I mean, on the back of the Copenhagen Games win, and if you guys manage to win open, like it certainly is a possibility for you guys. So fingers crossed on that front. Um, but has anything like has there been any change in what you guys are doing since that win? Like, has that affected you guys at all, or are you just kind of like keeping on, keeping on?
I mean, we are affected a lot by it because like the day after Copenhagen Games, we got invited to the best prac group there is, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we were just playing against, I wouldn't say scrubs, but yeah, we didn't have that good pracs.
Okay.
I mean, I think some of the best teams we played against, I mean, Outlaws and teams like that, and yeah, that are good teams to play against, but you can't play against them all the time. So
Yeah.
we had a lot of bad practice as well. But now, I mean, now we have the chance to play against the real teams. I mean, the
Okay.
best of the best, and yeah, these teams we will learn a lot from playing against them. I mean, they will. Yeah, if we do a mistake, they will utilize that and stuff like that. So I'm sure that we will involve even more as a team now
Okay.
than before. But also also the invites to Hellcase and other tournaments, stuff like that. We didn't have any of that before, so I mean that's great for us. We can prove ourselves and play against better teams and officials as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this is the beauty of Copenhagen Games and all of the negative factors of Copenhagen Games that come along with Copenhagen Games, the delays, the tech issues, the whatever the BYOC PCs that have lag and don't get enough FPS, whatever you want to say. I mean, this is the great thing about an event like Copenhagen Games because you can have a team like basically come out of nowhere, win the whole thing, and then it's just like it's beautiful to see once a team gets that recognition, how they can really take off afterwards. So, I mean, that's great to hear, and wish you guys all the best, and hope that you take advantage of it and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
Now, I just kind of want to talk briefly, kind of about like the Danish scene, things that are going on in general in the Danish scene. Um, I mean, there's so many good players and good teams in Denmark for such like a relatively small country. It's insane how dense the CS talent is in Denmark. So I mean, who are some of like the people that you have your eyes pegged on? It can be teams or individuals that are like really you think going to be big, and like we're going like at the level below like the you guys and Tricked. Like who are the people that are going to rise up and be the stars of tomorrow? You think?
Um, I'm sure that a player like Stown, like from Fraxters,
Mm-hmm.
15 years old, he's already an amazing player. I'm sure that he will, like, if he gets the chance to play with some of the real good guys and get a, like, I mean, he needs to get some more experience from older guys and get into another team. I'm sure he will evolve, yeah, into being, yeah, the new talent in Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
Also a player like Mertz,
Right.
playing for North Academy. I mean, now that he got the chance in North Academy, I'm sure that he will also, yeah, become one of the best offers in Denmark. Maybe like he will evolve a lot from this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people beneath our team. It's hard to say. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. You just know it when the talent is there. And I don't really, yeah, I don't really play with that many people like beneath or outside the top 10 in Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to also talk about A and J, like from my team.
Okay.
Like when I started out playing with him in Singularity, his role was like, yeah, it didn't fit him at all, and he didn't like his performance wasn't that good. But now when we took him and just said, yeah, do whatever you want, because I mean I knew he had a good aim,
Mm-hmm.
so I just told him, do whatever you want. I mean, you're the best player or you have the best aim in our team. So we just want to, yeah, set you up for the kills and how you want to do it.
Okay.
And I mean, yeah, it worked out well. And now he's just, yeah, he's beasting it, I would say. So it wouldn't surprise me that if, yeah, say that he keeps up this in a year, maybe in a year or something like that, he will get picked up by an even better team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that we don't evolve to the team we want to be,
Right.
then for sure he will get picked up. I'm sure of that.
Yeah. Well, don't hype him up too much because then the other teams are gonna come knocking on your door for him.
Yeah, that's the problem.
um, yeah. So I mean that brings us to the end of our little outline, kind of everything that we wanted to talk about. So just wrapping up here, I want to say thank you for taking the time to come chat with me. I know we've chatted before on Steam, but never face to face. So this has been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. Congratulations again. I
Thank you.
wish you guys nothing but the best. Any plugs, shout outs that you want to give? This is your time to do that.
I just want to say thanks to my team, my teammates, for doing amazing work in Copenhagen Games. I would also like to thank Singularity for, yeah, sending us at Copenhagen Games, giving us the opportunity to perform on a high level. And of course, thanks to the sponsors for Singularity, Ozone. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's anyone else I need to thank, but yeah, I would just thank everybody supporting us out there.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm sure if you forgot anyone, they'll let you know.
Yeah.
But all right, that wraps up this episode of Through the Years, the second one with Peter Insta Crowland. Once again, thank you for your time, and be on the lookout for if you enjoyed this, be on the lookout for the next one. Bye, guys.